Hello, my name is Elizabeth Mitchell and I'm a third grade teacher in New York. I am currently studying at GCU to be a reading specialist for elementary age students. There are a wide variety of assessments that can be used to inform our decisions about instruction that we have in place in the classroom for students. Those assessments might include diagnostic assessments, informal assessments, formal assessments, screening assessments, or progress monitoring assessments, all of which are going to guide the educator's choices while they are teaching the student to help guide them in a way that is going to benefit their future as a student and help them progress at a rate that is efficient and effective. To support struggling readers who might be struggling in one or more aspects of literacy, it's important that us as educators take these assessments super seriously so we can see exactly the targeted area that we need to work on with the student, and we can support them and give them the right resources they need along the way to help guide them in a way that's going to benefit them as a student. Especially in the early grade levels, it's important and essential to assess the early literacy skills that the students have. In the foundational years of learning, it's important that we assess the foundation skills that kids have, so when they move on to later grades and they're working on skills that build upon it, we make sure that they have a solid foundation and we can fill in any cracks that might have been left behind as they go, so they don't get too far and things start to become too frustrating, like the class is moving too far ahead. We want to support them where they are at the early level and make sure they're getting the support along the way so they don't fall behind and they don't miss any of those foundational pieces that's going to make them a better reader and writer later on. One example of an assessment for reading skills would be a running record. This type of assessment requires a student to read a passage and answer a few comprehension questions. The teacher or somebody facilitating the assessment is going to see the reading and mark the accuracy and fluency of the students' reading, and from that they will collect data that they can use moving forward for their students' reading. And then the comprehension questions the same. They will understand what the student's lacking in and where they could be supported in the area of reading and comprehension. This is good for students who can read and understand what they are reading. So it could start as early as, say, first grade or kindergarten, depending on how advanced the students are. For running record, I think some of the pros would be that it gives a really comprehensive understanding of how your student is reading. But one of the weaknesses would definitely be the time it takes to assess each kid with a running record. It takes a while to perform all those, and for each kid it would be lovely, but a lot of time the time constraint is hard for that one. Another example of an assessment for literacy skills would be a writing portfolio. I think that this is a great way to assess students' writing, as it takes a little piece of writing across content areas and it compiles it all together so we can get a more comprehensive understanding of how our student is performing in the area of writing over many different platforms. This can be appropriate through ages 7th through 12th grade as well. Compiling any kind of student's writing to form a more comprehensive way of assessing them is a really wonderful way to see how the student is doing as a whole. For writing portfolio, I think the pros are pretty self-explanatory. They're able to have their writing shown from more than one content area, which is just fantastic. But where the cons lie with this is you want to make sure, especially in the older grades, that the writing that they're doing and that's in their portfolio is their own and it is directly targeted at some of the skills that we want to be practicing, and across multiple content areas it might be hard to pinpoint those exact skills that a student might need to be working on. The last example that I'll share for now of an assessment given for literacy instruction would be a diagnostic assessment. I think that these assessments, especially at the beginning of the year, grab a really great understanding of where your kids are to start planning. I think that this is great for early literacy skills all the way through 12th grade to get an understanding of where your students are at the beginning of the year and how you can best support them moving forward with your planning. From a diagnostic assessment, we have a lot of key data that pinpoints key skills that students can grow on throughout the year. But for us as teachers, it's so valuable to have that initial data to see, one, how much they're growing, and two, to help form instruction. Some of the cons of a diagnostic assessment would be, I know a lot of them are on the computer nowadays, and having a test on the computer that could be long, that's not always great for children, especially the younger ones who might have a computer trouble and don't have those skills yet, those technological skills to do an assessment online. I know personally that's where my students lacked behind. I teach third grade, however, their technology skills are still fairly low, so I think some of them knew a bit more than the test showed. So we just want to make sure that those diagnostic results, especially if they're done online, are done accurately and correctly represent how the student truly understands the material. Overall, I think that we should use a variety of different assessments to assess our students each year, as they all offer something unique and new to form a comprehensive understanding of where our students are and how they're growing through literacy over the course of the year. Thank you so much for watching.